Now, most genealogy researchers rely heavily on the U.S. federal census record when it comes to finding their ancestors. But what happens when it's gone missing or it's difficult to read? Did you know that school records can actually serve as partial census substitutes in these cases? So, today in this back to school season, we are talking all about school records and why they deserve a spot in your genealogy research toolbox. Hey there, if you're new here, I am Lisa with Are You My Cousin? And this YouTube channel is designed to help you find your ancestors, grow your family tree, but not be overwhelmed in the process. So, if that sounds like your cup of tea, you're in the right place. So, what are school records? What are these school records that we're talking about? Well, there are a variety of different types of school records that are generated that we can use in our genealogy research. Now, to be clear, we are not talking about an individual's academic record. We're talking about school system type records or county records as it pertains to the business of school. And I think you're going to be surprised at what you can find that's going to be helpful for your genealogy research. Now, the main school record that I would encourage you to start with is actually the school census record. These are going to be, I think, some of the most genealogically valuable. Now, these school census records were taken typically annually or each school year and were used to document or predict the school-age population as well as the funding that might be needed to run these schools. So, unlike that federal census record that we love and use so much in our genealogy research, these could be taken more frequently and can document families in a year-to-year basis as opposed to an every decade type of situation. There are also enrollment cards and registers which would document information about a student when they enrolled in the school system or perhaps left the school system. I've even found attendance records, and those obviously can track, when a student was in school and when they were out of school. That can actually give a little bit of insight, perhaps if somebody left mid-year, perhaps a family migrated out of an area. So that can give you a little bit of information there. It can also give you kind of an indication of if this was a farming community and when the crops were coming in, and you'll see that ebb and flow of students coming and going as they were needed in the family farm or in family businesses. And of course, there are school directories and yearbooks, which tend to be from the later times, or maybe I should say a more modern genealogy record for us, but are very valuable in helping us find our ancestors, put them in time and place, as well as be able to perhaps find that photograph of our ancestor. Now, the types of school records that you are going to find available to you for your research are going to vary by time period as well as location. Now, I have certainly found school census records dating all the way into the 1860s, but that's not necessarily the case in every state or every county that I research in. There are some locations that might have earlier records, but other locations might not have had standardized their record keeping until the 1900s. So what I would recommend that you do as we go and look for these records would be to have that conversation with the state archivist, check their catalogs, and see what is available for the time period and the location that you are researching your ancestors in. Now, let's take a close-up look at a couple of different types of school records that you are going to find valuable for your research. I absolutely find them fascinating. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show you a couple of different examples of school records that I use in my genealogy research. I think you're going to find them very interesting. Certainly the first up is going to be a school census record. So I'm going to take you over there onto my laptop and show you what you can potentially find. Here's an example of a school census record. This is an original record. This is a photograph I took of it from the State Archives of North Carolina a number of years ago. So this is not online. This had to be found at the archives, but I want to show you what the potential of a school census record has for your genealogy research. So again, looking at the top, this is Ashe County, North Carolina. It's 1890. And this would be Ashe County's out in the western part of the states, the mountains. Now, one of the things to notice right away is we have an 1890 school census record, and right away, what my mind went to is this is a subset of the population there in Ashe County in 1890, because, as we know, the federal census for the 1890 did not survive, and so it's lost. But this can be a partial substitute. It's not a full-on substitute, but it is a partial substitute telling me who lives there with that. So this one is pretty Isn't as helpful as some, but you can see here, let me get my little arrow going here. It has the names of parents and guardians here and talks about their number of children. So this really just talks about um, the adults. And so we have the parents' names. This could be a parent or guardian. And unfortunately, the particular record keeper here just used initials. But when you're researching in the area and you've got the first and middle initial with surnames, you can then begin to understand who is in the area. So we know that these people were in Ashley County in 1890. We know how many male children, how many female children they had in the school for this time period. All right. So that's not a ton of information, I recognize, but in the absence of a federal census record for 1890, this is a nice little way to find your ancestor in that area. Now, I have some other examples as well. And this is actually an even earlier one. This is out of Granville County, North Carolina. This is in the year of 1860. And what we have here, it's a ledger. You can kind of see here, it's got that nice little spine there. This is a ledger. And so on the left side, we have the name of the pupils. And then we have their ages. So that's a really nice thing. We have children, we have ages, so we can now estimate a birth year, right? And what day of the month that they were attending. So this is like a monthly thing. And one of the first things you notice is that these first 5 children all have the last name of Hunt. Are they siblings? Possibly. Are they cousins? Possibly. We don't know. We can't assume a relationship, but we can certainly theorize, wow, okay, maybe they are. Now remember, very crucial when you're looking at records, always check the back of a record. And in this case, it is a ledger book, so we're going to read all the way across. And here's the second page over here. Now, my apologies for the quality of the photograph, guys. I took this myself years ago on a not very good, it could have even predated my cell phone. So this is not the best photograph here. And I do have a little bit close up, but as you read across here, what we have are the parents or guardians of those children. So this section right here, I'm going to give you a close up of. There we go. Parents or guardians. And these are the first 5 listings. I kind of did some photo editing to make it a little easier to read. And what we have are, for those Hunt children, we have Joseph Hunt, appears to be the father the parent for those first 2 children, and George Hunt is the father for the next 3. So at that point, we are able to know who the parents are. We're able to put children with a father. And wonderful thing is that this one actually even tells us the father's occupation. Obviously, this is a farming community. There's a lot of farmers in this community. Here's a carpenter down here. So in lieu, if I can't find this family in a federal census record, or if I can't read the record well, this is another way of potentially finding evidence of my ancestors. So I would encourage you to seek out this type of record. They are not certainly not the first record you're going to go for, but they are very, very helpful when you're trying to tease out some of those more difficult types of research problems. Now, a school yearbook can provide a lot of information about its students and the life of school, the student life, so to speak. And we can absolutely use those as part of our genealogy research. More and more of those are being digitized. Many of them are available online. Actually, Ancestry.com recently gave me a hint on finding somebody, and it turned out to be a picture of me in my college yearbook. So that was kind of interesting to see. But we're definitely seeing more and more school yearbooks online in the major genealogy databases, as well as yearbook-specific sites. Now, besides potentially finding yourself there in one of the genealogy databases, the yearbooks can certainly document the student life, but we can potentially find a photograph of our ancestor. We can obviously put them in a time and place, because if they're in that yearbook, we know where they were at a specific year and specific location. We can potentially find siblings if they were in the school at the same time together, as well as collateral relatives, or say other cousins who may have lived in the area as well. So that yearbook is more about than just your ancestor. It has some other options for filling out the family tree a little bit wider. Now, here's an example of a yearbook and a couple of the things that you might want to look at and pull out when you're doing yearbook research. As I mentioned, we are seeing more and more of these digitized and online. This is actually the Dover High School yearbook for 1950, out of Dover, Delaware. Now, one of the things I really like going into is looking at the senior pictures, because they oftentimes will give a little bit more information about an individual when they're a senior, because they're getting ready to graduate. And just like we do today, they tend to give them a little bit more of a bio. And so I wanted to show you what that looks like, what an example looks like on that. So here's one. Let me enlarge this just a little bit so you can see it easier here. Now, looking up here, I thought this was really interesting. So we have obviously the photographs, which are fabulous. That's something we definitely want to look at. We get a full name. So as you can see, we have Muriel Grace Belt. So we have a full name here, Edward Daniel Bitter Jr. So we have, that's good. We probably named after our father. So we start to pick up some clues on the naming of the individuals. So, we have that middle name. We need to use that in other records. This particular one, it tells us right here that Muriel entered DHS, Dover High School, senior year from Smyrna High School, Smyrna, Delaware. So we know that this family moved to Dover, from the Smyrna area. So this gives us an opportunity in a place that we can then say, all right, in our research, we need to go back and we need to start looking in the Smyrna area for this particular family. So that's an important piece to add to your research. But we can also learn about her as an individual. She played basketball. She was in the Glee Club. Hockey. She was a library aide. She was part of the senior dinner committee. And okay, I just love these little snippets. We don't do this as much anymore, but she made herself well known to everyone, especially by her snappy dressing. Pretty quiet, but can really come through with a wisecrack or a joke. So we know Muriel's probably kind of a quiet type, but she's really funny, apparently. So this gives us not only pertinent family information to use in our genealogy research about a location where the family came from, but also a little bit about her personality. And we see that throughout here with the young man here. I love this. He may be a clock watcher in school, but not a speedometer watcher. So apparently he's a fast driver. Maybe check out some police records. You never quite know. But it gives you a little bit of an idea what he likes. It says he was a demon in the physics lab. So Edward was really good at physics. More power to him. So these are the really cool ways that we can use and look at these snippets there. Now, there's also another section I wanted you to look at on a different page. Oftentimes when we are looking at yearbooks, we're typically thinking of students, and we're typically looking for our ancestors who were students at a particular high school or university or middle school, whatever we're looking at. But I don't want you to overlook the fact that this is where we can find our ancestors who worked in education, the teachers, the administrators. We can find those individuals in the yearbooks as well. So I would encourage you to take a peek if you know that maybe there's a tradition of teaching in your family, or if you know that your grandmother, your aunt, your great-grandmother was a teacher. Be sure and check the yearbooks for that area, because you may very well find them a little bit more there. So, here we have the physical education department. We have the science department. This is, I think, an interesting thing to be able to see. If your ancestor was, this gentleman here on the left, then you know a little bit more about him, and you know that he worked and he was science, and we know a little bit about his personality and interests. Same thing with this young lady over here, Miss Cool. She is the only woman in that science department, but it tells us a little bit perhaps about her interest as well. It doesn't tell us what she did, just tells us that she was in that department. So don't overlook the faculty pages when it comes to these yearbooks, because you may find your ancestor among the students, but maybe you're going to find someone in the administration or as the faculty as well. Now, one of the other resources I wanted to talk about just a little bit more was that school newspaper, because a school newspaper, it is a reflection of what was important to the students at that time. It details the student life, but it tells us what was happening, what was important to the students. These are typically student written, so the students are planning these newspapers, and it does give us an insight a little bit into what was happening in the student's world around them. Certainly, you have potential to find listings about your ancestor or even potentially photos about your ancestors in those school newspapers. But even if you're not finding specifically your ancestor, you are getting context. And remember, I talk a lot about in my videos the importance of context and social history and understanding that our ancestors did not live in a bubble, that what was happening in the world around them impacted them and impacted their decisions. So I would encourage you to make sure that you are getting this overall sense of what was happening around your ancestor in their and what was influencing them at that young age. So now that I have convinced you to take a peek and add those school records to your genealogy toolbox, where are you going to find these school records, right? Certainly you can check the major genealogy databases. They all have some of them. So we have MyHeritage, Find My Past, Ancestry.com, Family Search. They all have some school records. There's no one spot that's going to have everything though. Definitely you want to check your state archive. Now this is something, when it comes to finding school records, I do find when it comes to census records, the attendance record type things, these are going to be more archive specific. Oftentimes these are not necessarily going to be online, and that's okay. They are valuable to our research. It is worth your effort to seek them out. So I would encourage you to check the state archives for the state where your ancestor lived, as well as the county. If there's a county archives, you could check there as well. Definitely want to check that local library where your ancestor lived, because they are going to likely have yearbooks. Oftentimes they will have local or previous and older editions of the yearbooks, but they also might have some of those school newspapers that can be a little bit harder to find. I don't find those online as much. I typically do find those a little more offline, but you could check with that school. That local library may have them as well. If you're looking at a university, if you're looking at university school type of records, so yearbooks and newspapers from a university, then I would check with that university library as well. And of course, do not overlook reaching out to the historical societies and the local archives at that county level where your ancestors lived. So let's add school records to our genealogy toolbox, because they can be a game changer when it comes to breaking through that genealogy brick wall, when it comes to finding that hard to find ancestor that we just can't quite figure the story out on. Now, another genealogy research tool that you absolutely want to have in your toolbox are city directories. So learn more about using city directories in your genealogy research with the video on your screen now. How to use city directories in your genealogy research.